This is called Glitch and it's my trailer that I'm going to make. This is a logo. I've decided to call it TikTok Productions because my two main characters are called Tick and Tock, and I've decided to put a clock in the middle so it sort of has a symbol as well as just writing. These are my antagonists, Tick and Tock. They are mad scientists, and although that they're wearing male uniforms, they are actually females because they want to conform to like male authority, and they're mad scientists. I don't know why I said that already. And they're both wearing masks to be more sinister, so people don't actually know who they are. There are also 7 other characters, but they're minor, so we don't. They're all as important or minor as each other, so we don't really know too much about them, but it means the audience can pick which ones they prefer, and because not everyone likes the main character and sometimes prefers the sidekick. The outline of my film, it's a sci-fi film, but I've decided to go against the conventions of having aliens and outer space, and instead what happens is that a few people have discovered that every time at 11:11:11 in the morning the world seems to flicker, and hence the title, There's a Glitch. And towards the end of the film they realise that they're actually in an underground lab where Tick and Tock are the scientists, and they have to try and escape the labs. The aim of my trailer is to make it pretty simple, so because I've noticed that if you only have a few enigma codes, you're more likely to go see the film because you don't know too much about it, whilst some films, especially like comedies, they tend to show the funniest bits, and it's not very enjoyable in the end. Well, this is my storyboard. So it starts off from black, and then you see the logo. There's a medium shot of a clock in darkness, and then there's an extreme close-up. You then quickly see a flash of 2 masks, which are the antagonists, so already the audience is introduced to them. Then there's a quick transition to a boy who's looking across the city, and he's just about to look at his watch. And then there's a close-up on the watch, and you then see that there's something wrong with the world and that it's not quite real. Next you see another clock from a mid-shot. As you can tell, clocks are a main point of my film, a recurring thing. And a girl is watching the clock. There's an extreme close-up on her eyes. You then see an extreme close-up on the pendulum, and you see that she's sitting in an empty room with a telly and a clock. You then see the time of the clock, which is 11:11:11, and she's worried. She looks across to the TV and actually sees that Tick and Tock, which she wouldn't know then, is actually on the telly. And you then see the title of the film and when it's going to come out, which I decided to have 11:11:11 as well. Genre of my film, well, as I've mentioned already, it's going to be a sci-fi thriller, but it's also going to be a thriller and a mystery. This is because to make my trailer more dramatic, I've decided to make it a thriller, and mystery sort of tends to go hand in hand with thriller because to add more suspense. My target audience is 12 plus because I've decided that my film it doesn't have enough conventions of a 15, so I've decided to make it a 12, and I've noticed that 12As tend to be a lot scarier these days, like Super 8, so they're sort of lowering the boundaries for ratings. And that's the end. Yeah, and that's the end. Any questions? Yes.
Is there at any point in the film where Tick and Tock have like a slap fight?
No.
Aww.
Where would you show the trailer?
I would show it on YouTube, obviously, and I would have it on television probably after 7 o'clock, so it's sort of after when younger children go to bed, but still children 12 plus are up. And then if they wanted to, they could look onto YouTube and see it again.
How are you going to show the sort of science fiction element? Because notoriously it's very difficult,
Yeah.
and obviously with the resources that we have, how is that going to be represented?
I've decided to show it through the editing, and I've been thinking about this, to make sure it's not too thriller-like. I need to make sure that between the cuts there's like static, so you can tell that the world isn't quite real. And then I would explain later that it's in a lab and that people are watching them.
What about the music? Is it going to be very sci-fi, or is it going to be quite contrapuntal?
The music is going to be like, it's heavily music based, and it's probably going to be quiet at first, but then towards the end it gets louder and louder, and then at the end it will go quiet again because it's when the title comes on. So it'll be like Inception with the noises that they use.